Just a couple of quick comments before I get into the presentation. During the next 46 days, the City of Cleveland is going to host the Calder Cup Finals, the NBA Finals, and several Major League Baseball games. The world-class Hilton Hotel is going to open. The gem in the center of our city, Public Square, will be rededicated. The Division of Police will graduate a new class of police officers. Summer has arrived in our city. Numerous neighborhood events and festivals will showcase everything in our great city. We bid for and we won the honor of hosting the 2016 Republican National Convention, and that victory will place us in the international spotlight. These are all positive accomplishments, and that's what my presentation is going to focus on today. Everything that's positive that's going on in our city. As the chief said, I was selected to be the lead law enforcement planning officer for the Division of Police, and I consider this assignment a great honor and a highlight of my 31-year career as a law enforcement officer in the city and a lifelong city resident. So that's the way I'm looking at this. That's the way I want everybody else to look at it. Earlier we met, and a member of the media asked the mayor, "Mayor, what can we do?" And the mayor said, "Report the event as it unfolds. Be positive." We are not looking at this as a negative. This is a positive for our city, and we're going to showcase all that our city has to offer. We will be prepared, we are prepared, and we are trained. So with that said, I'm going to get into a presentation of what we've been doing the last 12 months and try to address any issues or any concerns that anybody has. The lead agency for the Secure Zone is the United States Secret Service, and they are collaborating on the design and the implementation. That has been a question that's been out there a lot. Where is that hard zone? That has not been determined yet. That will not be released. Publicly, the Secret Service says if you can see Quicken Loans Arena and throw a baseball at it, you're probably going to be in that secure zone. So I think everyone will have a pretty good idea where that hard zone is going to be. They are responsible for all the dignitary protection. They will coordinate that. All of the state trooper agencies are responsible to protect their governors that'll be in town. Chief Williams is the lead law enforcement officer. He'll be part of that unified command, and I will be the operations chief for the convention, and I will be responsible for all the law enforcement resources outside of that hard zone and throughout the city. The director touched on this very quickly. We're all part of this. We sit in the middle of the executive steering committee, and we make all the decisions, and all these subcommittees report up to the executive steering committee, and they get our approval on the plans, and then we move forward with those plans. We have collaborated, you're going to hear that a lot, with our law enforcement partners, and we have developed plans to prevent and mitigate any disruption by way of a balanced and proportional response continuum. So what I want to add to that is our law enforcement posture. This is in our operational plan. A lot of things that we're saying today are not, they're unclassified, but our law enforcement posture is the following. What you're going to see in the city of Cleveland from law enforcement is you're going to see officers on foot patrol, and they're going to be in their Class B uniforms, which are short sleeve shirts, slacks, and their hat. You're going to see officers on bicycles. Those officers on bicycles are going to have shorts on, they're going to have polo shirts, they're going to have their helmets on. Then you're going to see officers on mounted patrol. Obviously what's going to happen there, they're going to be patrolling on horses. We have contracted with outside law enforcement agencies to assist us with the mounted unit. You're going to see officers on motorcycles. That is our posture. Our posture is one of community policing, community engagement. Our job is to get people from point A to point B. Our job is to keep commerce moving and to keep the public safe and to make sure everybody that comes into the city has a positive experience and they're kept safe. So that's what you're going to see. What you won't see is any military-style equipment. You won't see officers in personal protective gear unless the situation dictates that they put on that gear and be in that personal protective gear. That's what it is. It's protection against something that is going on, and it's protection for our officers. But I can tell you that we will not be standing around with that personal protective gear on at all. It's going to be a different approach. During the planning process, I asked my counterparts across the country, I know what you did right. Tell me what you did wrong or what you would do over if you could do it over again. And that was one of the things that they said. Chief, more bicycle officers, more foot patrols, more community engagement. So that's where that's our plan, and that's going to be our posture. We're going to manage and track our security operations using the National Incident Management Model. And that model is a national model that allows for multiple agencies and multiple jurisdictions to all work together, all under one common operating picture. Excuse me, Chief. This is the unified command. This will be Chief Williams and the other chiefs of the Division of Public Safety, and they're going to be all together in one room, and they're going to be running the operations. So if I need something from the Division of Fire or the Division of EMS, I can go right to the chief. He's standing there right next to the chief of fire, the commissioner of EMS, and we can get those resources. The FBI, intelligence, and crisis management. We do have officers assigned to that subcommittee and on that task force, but the FBI is the lead agency. The FEMA, Federal Emergency Management, consequence management, and they have played a significant role in all of the training that they've conducted in the city. We had about 16 or 17 classes that FEMA has put on for us with 50 officers in those classes. I have personally went to every one of those classes and spoke to the men and women of the Division of Police at the request of Chief Williams, and exactly what I'm telling you is exactly what I told them. We're not going to stand for any lawlessness. If someone breaks the law, we're going to take swift, appropriate, and constitutional action to mitigate that. But we're not going to stand for that. Anybody that wants to come into the city and let their voice be heard in a lawful manner, we're here to assist them. But anybody that goes sideways and is not following the law, there's going to be consequences, and we're going to deal with them, but it's going to be swift and it's going to be very professional. I can assure you of that. We have intelligence assets. Through the Secret Service, they set up these different intelligence teams, and they all have different missions. Obviously, some of them are self-explanatory. They can explain themselves by their names. The PIC teams, Protective Intelligence, those are the teams that are in charge of all the protectees, the governors, the senators, the congressmen, and the protectee, the candidate, when he and his vice presidential candidate come to town. The 17th is the welcoming event, which takes place on our North Coast Harbor, and we have a partnership with all these agencies here for water resources, and there'll be a temporary flight restriction. As you can imagine, Burke Airport's going to be very busy, so the federal government is going to put a temporary flight restriction controlled by the FAA. I discussed this a little bit earlier, but like I said, I know it's been out there quite a bit, so it can't be said enough. I've been saying it and I've been preaching it to all the men and women of the division, all the law enforcement agencies that are coming in from around the country. Everybody's on board with it. You know, they like our plan. They know we're prepared. They know we're going to be ready to go once the convention starts. Body-worn cameras. Excuse me. It's been a big question lately. If you're on the bike, if you're walking, if you're in a Class B uniform, you're going to be wearing your body-worn camera. If you have to put on your personal protective gear, there is no place for that camera to be worn. You will not be required to wear your city-issued body-worn camera. In an effort to mitigate that, in an effort to have some redundancy, we have established a video unit, and with all the media outlets and everybody with a cell phone, I'm very, very confident that any issue or interaction with law enforcement, we're going to have a documented record of it. That is our video unit's responsibility. If an incident occurs, They are to get to that location. They're going to be assigned to these different units, and they're going to go and they're going to take a video record of that, so we have it.